What's up guys, TC here, and welcome back to Starbound Nightly. On today's episode we have a whole bunch of new stuff to show off, as well as some changes to some weapons in the prior episodes. So we're going to do right off the bat, we're going to step back with two changes immediately from the last episode that have on some weapons here. So the first up is the, it's called a Lunarang. In the last episode we called it a Spectral Boomerang, that's what it was called. And it's actually been changed quite a bit now. It actually functions considerably differently. So if you remember, it actually used to phase through walls and stuff, right? Now it actually hits walls, breaks, and comes back in smaller pieces. Now it does not break on mobs, it only breaks on solid structures, so that's kind of an important thing to note. Up next is the giant worm, which has also changed considerably. If you remember that one, it also went through structures, and now it actually has this very, very weird like worming pattern to it. And it comes back. It does not go through things anymore. It bounces off walls. It's kind of got a weird sporadic behavior whenever it's returning. If you look like weird, I don't know. It's strange, but it's actually really high damage because every individual segment on it is actually a damage dealing object. So if it hits a mob and overlaps them a lot, it actually does a whole lot of damage sometimes. So up next we have three new boomerangs here, or I'm sorry, chakrams actually. Here's the hard chakram, which this is a short range but very, very high damage chakram. So you see it doesn't go very far at all. And it's kind of slow, but it's actually one of the higher damaging ones. Up next we have the normal chakram, right? Now this one is just like a boomerang. It just goes off, returns. Very simplistic and basic. Up next we have the saw chakram. This one's very much so like the other chakram, but if you throw it into a solid structure, it actually sticks. And it'll return to you. So same thing with the walls here. Unfortunately, it is like the Lunarang in that it hits a mob. It doesn't stick in mobs. It only does this extra effect when it hits a solid structure. So up next we have our new fist weapons, and also there's been one slight tweak to these as well. So if you remember last week, the boxing glove, which now has power punch as its finisher, had the uppercut, and the gauntlet, which now has uppercut, had a power punch as its finisher. So these two basically got swapped, right? So the boxing glove now has a power punch, and the gauntlet now has an uppercut. Now the next one we have that's kind of new is we have a brass knuckle, which is, it's odd because all of them have a they have their stats on them, their finisher, and they have a little bit of info on them. This one has nothing, so I'm not sure if it's like unfinished, but currently it only has the power punch. So it's identical to the boxing glove. So nothing really special going on here. But if we look closely here, you'll see the claw glove, which is what I was talking about in the last episode. So this claw glove is really, really cool. Basically, it's got this like dash forward, and it's very, very nice, very, very cool. It's got that Vega look to it. Next, we have the stun glove, which is an electrical version. So you'll see it actually dishes out an electrical status, like type of attack here, but it's actually got a like electrical burst. It does if you do its combo. And then lastly we have the Vine Fist, which is like basically like a nature version, and it's got this really, really comical punching fist that shoots out and extends all the way out. Yeah, so I really love that. Next we have two more things before we wrap the episode up, and the first I want to show off here is, I'm not sure how long this has been in the game. I know it's not in the colony update, so it's something, it's been relatively new. Some of you might have noticed it. If you did, and I missed it, and you guys already knew about it, I'm sorry, but I want to point it out. So when it comes to food in the game, one of the biggest deterrents is that when you eat, you have this well-fed debuff, and the main issue with food before was that the well-fed debuff lasted long before, or it lasted much longer than the actual status did of the food, right? So if you ate a food and it gave you regen for 30 seconds, the well-fed status debuff would actually last like a minute or 2 minutes, you know? And that was really frustrating because it made eating food like a much more rare thing. You really couldn't use it that often. So it's been changed at some point. So now I ate that pizza there, and you'll see this pizza gave me regen, and here's the well-fed status debuff. And if you actually look really closely here, you'll actually see these are on the same bar, like they're on par. And what that means, and it's with all foods, is that the well-fed debuff now only lasts as long as the longest lasting status effect on that food, right? So if you eat something that gives you speed for a minute, and that's the longest lasting effect, the debuff will go away after a minute, which means you'll be able to immediately eat more pizza as soon as the effects go away, which is a considerable buff to food in general. Now the last little bit here is, I think it's pretty fun. We're gonna hop outside to show it off though. So if we look at this little item here, I'm gonna put away this Lunarang here. So here we have a Dun Hoverbike controller. Now what this is going to be, this is how we're going to use our This is how we're going to control our vehicles in the world eventually. So essentially you left click it and it places your vehicle there, and you can get into it. And as you see, the vehicles now have some status effects, or some like particles and stuff. They also have headlights, which you really can't see right now. If you left click, you'll actually get a headlight. It kind of lights up a little bit. It's very nice. And the hover bikes they're pretty quick. They don't have a boost or anything. They do have a jump, kind of. Now the frustrating thing you have to be careful with is if you ram these into something too hard, they'll actually take damage and they'll eventually break. So I'm gonna try to see if I can break this on something. Maybe I can jump this way. Yeah, so you see it actually takes damage. We'll probably take damage here too, right? Yeah, but eventually it'll actually break, and it actually has several different. There you go. See, it has several different forms, or whatever. But we're gonna hop out of here, and what you're gonna see is it'll actually break entirely like that, right? And all you have to do is right-click with your thing, and then you can re-click it, re-left-click it, and it's a brand new hover bike, right? Now the interesting thing with this, I didn't even notice until very this morning actually, is this is actually a two-seater. So you and your buddy can get in here, so you can get in and drive, and your buddy can get in the back. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't look like the person in the back is going to be able to do anything because I can't switch weapons. However, it is a good transport, which is really fun. So this is actually going to make two-player co-op really, really fun. I'm very interested to see what else is going to be two-player. But anyways, guys, that's all I have for you today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please rate, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to y'all later.